Seamus, Annabelle, and Libby. We're going to read to you. Grandma Marge is going to start. This is going to be in 2 parts because it's a little bit longer movie. It'll be about 5 minutes each or so. And the book is called Katie's Pond.
And it's all about nature.
Nature.
And we're allowing parents this time.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other change this time. It's okay for this one if you have grown-ups watching with you. Okay, so that's all right. So if any grown-ups want to watch, parents included, it's okay.
It's okay. All right, so I'm going to read part 1 and Grandpa Bruce is going to read part 2.
Okay.
Katie's Pond. Katie Stevens is in Mrs. Johnson's 2nd grade at the Clapp School in Woburn, Massachusetts.
Woburn?
Woburn. In school each morning, the class writes a sentence about the pond outside their window. Today will be different. Mrs. Johnson is bringing them to the pond for a closer look. There's the pond outside their window.
Yeah, there's the blue stuff is the pond. Cool.
As the children get ready for their walk, the teacher tells them that they will be using all of their senses today to explore the pond. She reminds them to pay close attention because not everything is safe to touch, and they must never taste things growing at the pond. The children understand. Now they are ready to go. They leave the school and cross Arlington Road. So what are the 5 senses, Grandpa Bruce? Sight.
Hearing. Smelling. Tasting, tongue, and touching.
Perfect. Once the class reaches the pond, they sit under the tall oak trees at one end of Hudson's Grove. Close your eyes and listen, says Mrs. Johnson. What sounds do you hear? Katie hears the rustle of the oak leaves as the wind makes them whisper high overhead. Next, the teacher has the children sit on the stone steps. Can anyone find the stone that is different from the rest? Asks Mrs. Johnson. A boy named Ronnie points to the stone that is green. The teacher says that stone is called serpentine. The children take turns feeling the smooth green stone called serpentine.
Very cool.
Further along the path, spots of sun and shadow move over bright yellow flowers. Look how pretty the yellow flowers are.
Those are pretty.
The teacher tells the children that these flowers are called celandine. Perhaps the Native American Indians who once lived around Horn Pond used these flowers for coloring their clothing and making face paints.
Wow.
Oh, did you know Grandpa Bruce was part Indian?
Yeah.
Mrs. Johnson breaks a stem and bright yellow juice oozes out. Katie's favorite color is yellow. Yellow is such a happy color.
It's one of my favorite colors too.
Me too.
Oh, that's pretty.
Isn't that pretty?
Look how pretty that plant is. Flower.
Across the path in the bright sunshine, a soft fuzzy plant is growing. The children feel the soft gray-green leaves. This is the milkweed plant.
Milkweed.
It is the favorite food of the monarch butterfly, explains the teacher. You know the monarch is the gorgeous butterfly.
Big black and yellow butterfly. Yeah, it's really pretty.
In the fall, the pods that will form on this plant will burst with hundreds of seeds to be carried on the wind in puffy white silk. You know, it looks like cotton balls flying through the air.
Oh, neat.
That's the milkweed. Perfect. At the end of Hudson's Grove, the class sits to watch the 2 great white swans. Aren't they beautiful? We used to see those on Martha's Vineyard, remember?
Yeah. Yep.
They float in the water.
Maybe the same ones.
Right. These are called the mute swans. Their necks curve like the letter S.
Right.
Who can do a letter S?
Yep,
Perfect.
that's what an S would look like if you did it from your point of view. From my point of view, it would be, but from your point of view, it would be.
When these beautiful swans fly away, their wings make a singing sound, Mrs. Johnson says.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
A plant with big green leaves and a reddish-green stalk is growing nearby. Mrs. Johnson says that this plant, is wild rhubarb.
Oh, man.
She explains that the leaves are poisonous, but the stalk can be eaten. Katie remembers the delicious rhubarb pie her mother baked last fall.
Yeah, and you know who likes rhubarb pie a lot?
I know. Uncle Rich.
Uncle Rich
He loves it.
Huge on rhubarb pie.
Strawberry rhubarb pie.
Strawberry rhubarb pie in particular.
Right.
That's right.
The teacher asks if anyone can think of other foods that might grow wild around the pond. The children named blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries. That's true, says Mrs. Johnson.
Blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries.
And now I'll show you one more food.
Hmm.
The class walks to the edge of the pond and Mrs. Johnson points out a tall, fuzzy-looking plant that looks like that. She tells the class that this is called the cattail. Early in the springtime, people gather the greenish-yellow flower spikes. These are then cooked and eaten like corn on the cob. I didn't know that. They taste like artichokes. Suddenly, a black bird with bright yellow and red shoulders landed on a cattail. It calls out loudly with a chick and a chirr sound. Katie knows that bird. It's the red-winged blackbird. Now the class walks down a narrow trail that will take them around the lagoon. To the right is a ditch filled with water. Look, Julia cries.
Turtles.
There are turtles all over the logs. Oh, they're so cute. And rocks in the ditch. They are sunning themselves in this quiet spot. Turtles of all sizes. All of a sudden, plop, one fell off the log into the water. As the class turns to leave the turtles, a breeze brings a sweet, delicious smell. On the other side of the path is a silvery gray bush. It is like a short tree. Mrs. Johnson tells the class that this is a Russian olive tree in Massachusetts, of all things. It has pale yellow flowers that look like tiny trumpets. The teacher tells the class to watch for this smell again further along the path. The air is almost still as the class walks along. Katie sees a tree up ahead. Whose leaves are trembling. She asks if an animal might be shaking the tree. Very good, Katie, the teacher says. That tree is called a quaking aspen.
A quaking aspen.
The leaf stalk is flat, which causes the leaf to tremble or quake in the smallest breeze. Katie feels the flat leaf stalk. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It wasn't really being shaken by an animal. Okay, we're going to stop right here.
Okay.
And this is part 1, and the next part, Grandpa Bruce is going to read.
All right,
so stay tuned.
We're going to stop the film.
Okay.
And we got to have do the second part.
You can go get a
got that
snack
part.
or do something else, and
You do
then
run
come back
around,
for part
run
2.
in circles and talk among yourselves.
Okay.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.